let us move on, man, to the next big game that happened. It just so happened that it happened right there in Jerry's world, where the Baltimore Ravens, who were 0-2, who could have been 2-0, came down to Dallas, who thought that they were going to be 2-0, were in fact 1-1. And the conversation that you and I had on Friday night show, along with Jordan, which, by the way, let us welcome Jordan to kind of give his feedback on how Baltimore was not only able to dominate this game early, but fend off a late game comeback from Dak and the Dallas offense. But let me go ahead and kind of set the stage as to how I want y'all to address this. We talked about on Friday night, how would Dallas win if Dallas could win? How would Baltimore win if Baltimore could win? And who was going to suffer more if Baltimore took that L or Dallas took that L? And I think, Griff, before you get into your analogy and soliloquy of why y'all lost, I think you owe Karen a payment of some sort. Didn't y'all make a bet Friday night?
Who?
You.
We didn't make no bet because I said I picked the Ravens to win the game.
Okay. All right.
I could be wrong. I mean, the fact checkers are out there. Jordan, did we make a bet? I didn't think so. I'm just. I picked.
Okay. All right. Well, run me back how Baltimore came out of Dallas with a dub, and why Derrick Henry was such a key factor, and what does that say about your defense? I don't want to hear any Dak bashing, at least in the first half of the game review. Let's talk about that Dallas defense.
You won't get me to bash Dak. I mean, at the end of the day, the same thing that happened last week against the Saints, it's the same thing that happened this week. We was not able to stop the run at all, and Zimmerman was able to make no adjustments in the second half. I mean, between Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, they was able to do basically whatever they wanted to do when it came to running the ball. And on the other side of it, we wasn't able to run the ball. And that's what I said on Friday. We was going to be able to win this game. We had to run the ball, and we wasn't. And that all, again, the person that I blame for everything is the one that I feel like is losing purposely, like I told you in the green room, to sell the team. And that's Jerry Jones. Man, he ain't do nothing. And when you don't do nothing, you get exactly what we got on Sunday.
So before you jump in, Jordan, when you know that this argument has been made about the Cowboys. We didn't do anything in the offseason to upgrade. All we did was pay the same players that were on the team last year more money to be on the team this year. But didn't that produce a 12-5 record? Yes. That means that the team was good. That means that the team made the playoffs. That means that the team had an actual chance to win the Super Bowl. You did make a mistake with the Derrick Henry non-signing, but it speaks to, I believe, you say Jerry's tanking, and I'm not defending Jerry at all. If I'm Jerry Jones, I believe in what we have built here. We have been consistently a 12-4 or 12-5 team. Why change a formula that works? I got it. We haven't won in January, but getting to January, we are one of the best teams in the NFL.
I'm gonna let Jordan speak, man. But I'm gonna say this: like I said before, the landscape of the league has changed. The reason why definitely last year the Cowboys was able to go because we was a pass-happy NFL and teams was throwing the ball and Michael Parsons was able to get there or whatever. Now you bring these teams in and they running the ball or whatever. That's why we didn't make it through in the playoffs and we was basically struggling at the end of the season because we didn't have no line. We got DBs playing linebacker and we still had that same problem this year and he didn't do anything to address it. People want to blame Dak, but when your quarterback is throwing the ball 51 times in a game, that's a problem. Dak had to throw the ball 51 times, which tell me that, hey, the offensive coordinator didn't make no adjustments, and we didn't go get nobody to run the ball. The person that we should have got is on the other side of the field gashing us that live right there in the city. He ain't have to go far. He bought a house thinking he was going to be on the team. So I'm going to stop because I don't want to take all the time. I'm going to pass it on over to Jordan and let him talk about his squad.
And, the Ravens look good for the first 3 quarters. I would say that. We went back to what the Ravens do, which is run the ball. But I still think that there's an issue going on in Baltimore. And I don't know if you guys were actually able to catch it. Lamar Jackson was on Marlon Humphrey's live. And Marlon Humphreys is one of our cornerbacks, and he's known for kind of being like a silly, goofy dude. He's got a podcast or whatever. But he puts the live stream on Lamar after the game. And you can tell, like, Lamar's like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, we won the game. Like, we're 1-2 right now. Like, this isn't time to be all up. Like, what you wearing? How you feeling right now? Like, this is business, guys. Like, we got contracts on the line. People are feeding their families with this. So there's a lot on the Ravens. I like that they ran the ball. They got back to what they do, but there's still a lot of work to be done. They still don't look like that MVP team that they had last year where we kind of thought maybe they're going to go and win it all. So, I'm happy that we got the win, but, it's still a lot to be done.
Yeah, no, and I would agree with you. I would agree with you that the Ravens offense is still trying to figure out how to best utilize all of the available weapons, right? Make sure that Lamar feeds Henry to where Henry is healthy and strong in November and December and headed into January. So we got to keep King Henry healthy, right? And make sure that we utilize all of the other backs in our run game to make sure that they are well plugged into the offense. Lamar is going to be Lamar. He's going to get his numbers both in the passing game and in the running game. And his number one priority is also to stay healthy on the offensive side. The conundrum is, how do we use Likely and Andrews to where they're both getting fed while at the same time using Zay Flowers and Bateman in the right space to get separation when we can take the cap off the ball on the offense? The problem for the Baltimore Ravens is that defense. You cannot protect a lead to save your natural born lives up there in Baltimore. It's like we get a 10-plus point lead, and when the clock says fourth quarter, you decide to give it away. You did it last week against the Raiders. That's how you lost that game. You did it Tuesday against the Cowboys, and you almost lost that game because the way that Dallas came back late in the second half, I was like, man, this is either going to be a hell of a comeback for the Cowboys that they would not stop talking about for the rest of the year, or a complete collapse of the Baltimore Ravens and their season being over after leading 28-6 in the fourth quarter and then blowing that lead, taking an L, going 0-3, your season would have been over. So you holding Dallas off saved y'all a whole lot of embarrassment and questions about John Harbaugh's job security. That game meant a whole lot to y'all, more than it did Dallas, as it says. A lot of people mentioned in the chat. But I tell you what, this Thursday night game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants, who are still terrible, if Dallas loses that game, bruh, y'all got some real.
We are,
and you could lose that game.
I ain't saying we can't. I'm telling you, we the bottom feeders of us and the Giants are the bottom feeders of the East this year. I told you, and we got to move on, man, because we just spent too much time here. But I told you in the beginning of this thing, I have no expectations for my team. I like football, and I know where my team is at. You can see the conflict over there between. You know why we was at least made a run like we was trying to come back? Because we stopped throwing the ball to CD. Because CD, again, he fumbled the ball down in the red zone. He not catching the ball. But the minute Dak started spreading the ball around, look and see what happened. I ain't got time for no powder, bro. But
real quick, you said Friday that CD is not that wide receiver one, right?
He ain't.
He showed that. Now, number 11, Micah Parsons. Again, teams continue to take advantage of his inability to stop the run. Y'all gonna have some real problems on defense this year. So before we move on, Jordan, do you think that this victory propels y'all back to being competitive to where you found your footing and you're gonna continue to plug in King Henry in the offense and use him as the number one source, or is it gonna be let's spread the ball out like we usually do?
No, 100%. I think any win is going to help you guys out, especially just like in the locker room. But you know who the Ravens got on Sunday night? They got those Bills and they're on fire. So we'll see.
That is going to be a huge game this Sunday, and looking forward to it.